Okay, so this happened back in 2014, when my cousin Lucas and I were around 13. We were pretty tight back then, more like brothers than cousins. Lucas would spend almost every weekend at my house, especially during the winter when there wasn't much to do outside. That night it was just me, Lucas, and my dad at home. My dad worked late at the hospital, so once he left for his night shift, the house was basically ours. No rules, no one telling us to keep it down. Naturally, we did what bored teenage boys did. We hopped online to screw around with strangers. Back then, there was this site called Facebook. It was kind of like chatroulette but even sketchier. You'd hit a button, and boom, you were face to face with some random person from somewhere else in the world. Most of the time it was weird guys, people skipping you immediately, or other kids just trying to be funny. But every now and then, you'd get someone interesting. We were in my bedroom, lights off, just the glow of the laptop lighting our faces. Lucas was on the bed, and I was sitting on the floor, laptop propped up on a pillow. It was around 10 p.m., and we were already a few rounds deep laughing, cracking jokes, trying to creep people out with dumb faces. Then we saw her. She looked to be around 16 or so, maybe older. She had long, straight black hair, pale skin, and wore a gray hoodie that looked way too big for her. Her room was dark, but it was filled with this weird, soft blue light, like the kind you get from aquarium lights or a computer left on all night. It made her skin look even paler, almost like she was glowing. She didn't say anything at first, just stared at the screen, eyes wide, like she was trying to figure out what kind of people we were. Lucas said something dumb like, "Nice lighting. You trying to summon ghosts in there?" She gave this half smile, like she wasn't sure whether to be amused or creeped out. Her voice was quiet when she finally spoke. "No, the light just never turns off." I thought she was being sarcastic, so I joked, "What, cursed lamp or something?" She didn't laugh. She didn't even smile this time. She just said, "I didn't plug it in." That was weird, but whatever, people say strange stuff on those sites all the time. Lucas and I exchanged glances, trying not to laugh. Then Lucas leaned forward, squinting at the screen. "Hey, is someone behind you?" It was classic Lucas. He loved trying to freak people out. I rolled my eyes, already expecting her to turn around and laugh, but she didn't. Instead, she froze. Her smile faded, and she turned just her head, slowly, like she didn't really want to look. There's no one there," she said quietly, but now her voice had a shake in it. Lucas winked at me and kept going. "No, seriously, look right there, near the bed." I swear I saw something move. I was still playing along, half laughing, when I suddenly caught at something in the back of the room, near the edge of the frame. Just where the blue light faded into shadows, there was movement, just a flicker, like someone ducking. I stopped laughing. Lucas noticed my face change and whispered, "Dude, do you see that?" The girl turned again, this time standing up from her chair a little. Her webcam was jittery and low quality, but we could see more of the room. No clothes on the floor, a tall bookcase, and a bed pushed into the corner. She was breathing louder now. Then Lucas leaned in, almost whispering to her like she could hear us better. "There's someone behind your bed." She hesitated. Then she grabbed her phone, flipped the flashlight on, and aimed it toward the bed. For a split second, we saw it. A figure, crawling, a person, low to the floor, dressed in black like a shadow. They moved like they didn't want to be seen, trying to stay close to the wall. Her flashlight hit the edge of something, a hand, pale, with dirt under the nails. She screamed. It wasn't a small scream. It was raw, loud, panicked. She backed away from the screen so fast she knocked her chair over. Her phone dropped, the flashlight spinning, lighting up the ceiling and walls like a strobe. We saw books crash to the floor, her desk rattle, and the webcam shake violently. And then the man stood up. He was tall, wearing a ski mask, dressed all in black. He stepped into view just as she was trying to crawl away, shouting, "No, no, no," over and over. He lunged, grabbed her by the hoodie, and dragged her back into the frame. "Shut up," he shouted. "Shut up." She was screaming louder now, her legs kicking, knocking over everything in reach. And then he looked up, right into the webcam, right at us. His eyes locked on the screen. They were wide, crazed. He knew we were watching. It was like he wanted us to see. Then, suddenly, black screen, face zone reloaded and threw us into a new chat. Lucas slammed the laptop shut, but just sat there. Neither of us said anything. My heart was pounding so hard I felt dizzy. I think Lucas whispered something like, "What the hell just happened?" For a second we told ourselves it had to be fake. Some kind of twisted prank or horror skit. People made those all the time, right? But something about it felt too real, too raw. And then, 3 days later, Lucas texted me. It was a link, a news article from a town called Fairpoint about an hour from where I live. A teenage girl had been found dead in her home. She'd been alone when it happened. The photo in the article was blurry, but it was her. Same black hair, same pale face, same girl. We showed our parents. They called the police. And soon we were sitting in our living room, talking to 2 detectives. We told them everything. What she looked like, what her room looked like, what the guy looked like, what we saw him do. We even drew it out, trying to remember as many details as we could. The blue light, the crawling hand, his eyes. They listened and took notes, but they didn't say much. just nodded and thanked us. We never heard anything back. I don't know if they believed us. I don't know if it helped, but every now and then, when I can't sleep, I still see her face on that screen. I hear her scream in my head. I remember how the man stared right into the webcam right at USA as if he knew we were part of it now, as if watching made us guilty. I haven't been on a video chat site since, and I never will, because late at night, when the room is quiet and the screen lights up just right, I still see a flicker, a shadow, something crawling just out of frame, something crawling just out of frame.
Have you ever done something so dumb you can still feel your heart race just thinking about it, even years later? Yeah, well, this is one of those stories. Back in 2013, I was 16 and living with my older cousin, Travis, in this small town called Marlow Creek. It's one of those quiet places with more trees than people, where nothing ever happens unless you count the occasional raccoon tipping over trash cans as excitement. Anyway, it was mid-December. Snow was piling up outside, and the wind made the old windows rattle like bones. We were both bored out of our minds. Travis was passed out on the couch snoring, and I was in my room, half watching a horror movie with one tab open on Reddit. That's when I saw a post about the deep web. You've probably heard of it. The deep web or dark web, depending on who you ask, is like the hidden underbelly of the internet. It doesn't show up on Google, and you need a special browser to even access it. People always talked about it like it was this haunted house online, full of secrets, illegal stuff, and weirdos lurking in the digital shadows. Naturally, I wanted to check it out. I wasn't trying to do anything illegal or stupid. I was just curious. Stupid kind of curious. So I looked up how to get on the deep web, and this site told me to download a browser called Tor. I remember the logo. It looked like an onion, which felt like a joke at first, but I installed it anyway. It opened this strange browser that looked old school, like something from 2002. Everything about it just felt off. I had no clue where to start, so I did the dumbest thing you could do. I searched cool deep web links. That led me to an archive site full of onion addresses. It was like a directory straight from the Twilight Zone. No categories, no descriptions, just endless pages of mysterious links with names like Room 47, Mirror Shadows, and The Last Door. I was expecting something shady or spooky, but honestly, most of the stuff I clicked on either didn't load or led to boring forums with two users talking about encryption or mushrooms. After about 40 minutes of jumping between sites, I saw a link labeled Live Room, Speak Freely. No description, just that I clicked. The screen went black for what felt like forever. My laptop made this loud humming sound, like it was struggling to breathe. Finally, a basically king chat room loaded. Black background, white text, nothing fancy. At the top, it said, "Welcome to Echo Room Speak. Be heard, be seen." There were only 3 users in the room. Voidmer guest 273. Me. I picked the name Kidnova123. I know, real edgy. I typed hello. Nothing for a while. The last messages in the room were hours old. Mostly random letters, links, and strange symbols. One post just said, "He watches through the black glass." I thought maybe it was some ARG alternate reality game, or just internet trolls being creepy for fun. Then Voigtmare typed, "Why are you here, Kidnova?" At this point, my fingers hovered over the keyboard. My room was dead quiet. Even the wind outside had stopped, like it was holding its breath. I typed back, "Just exploring." looking for something weird, I guess. He waited, then sent, "I'll show you. Don't tell the others." Right after, he pasted a link. It didn't look like the others. This one was longer, full of weird characters. It looked alive somehow, like it didn't belong. Before I could even ask what it was, Void Mirror left the chat. Poof, gone. Poof, gone. Now it was just me and guest 273, and they weren't typing. I should have closed the laptop. Should have shut it down, deleted Tor, gone downstairs, and watched cartoons or something. But I didn't. I clicked the link. It took about 2 full minutes to load. That's long enough for you to think about every mistake you've ever made, by the way. My screen flickered once, then went black again. When it lit back up, I was staring at a website with no name. The banner at the top showed a dimly lit living room, except the walls were smeared with black handprints. And there was a symbol carved into the coffee table, a red, twisted thing, almost like a spiral made of bones. Every inch of the page was written in some ancient-looking script sort. There were buttons at the top, maybe 6 of them, but all unlabeled. I clicked one at random. The 5th one from the left. The screen went black again. Then a loading bar appeared, pulsing slowly like a heartbeat. Finally, a new chat room opened up. But this one was different. It didn't say who else was in the room. No usernames. Just text appearing one after the other. It was full of those same strange characters. But suddenly, buried between the gibberish, I saw something that made my stomach drop. My full name, first, middle, last, perfectly typed. In the center of the screen, I stared at it, not moving, not breathing. Then something even worse happened. A photo appeared of me, my face, sitting right there in my room, hair messy, eyes wide, just me, staring straight into the screen. It had been taken just now, through my webcam. Another one popped up, then another. My hands flew to the camera. I slapped a sticky note over it, heart pounding so hard I thought it would burst out of my chest. But the pictures kept coming frame by frame, like someone was recording me through the chat room itself. I tried to close the browser, but the mouse was frozen. I tapped the touchpad, mashed the keyboard. My laptop started making this awful, glitchy sound, like a distorted voice whispering through static. The messages in the chat were flooding in, now dozens of them, unreadable symbols, filling every inch of the screen like a virus. Then I saw another English phrase. "You saw us, now we see you." That's when the screen began flickering. The light dimmed, and for a split second, the background changed. It showed what looked like my bedroom only. It was darker, empty, like a shadow of it. And in the corner was something standing still, watching. I couldn't take it anymore. I held the power button down until the screen finally went black. Even then, the laptop took forever to shut down, like it didn't want to. I didn't sleep that night, or the next one. When I finally turned my laptop back on, it booted normally. No signs of what happened, like it had never occurred. But the sticky note stayed over the webcam. I deleted Tor that same morning and wiped my browser history, reset everything. I even stopped using my computer at night. Do you ever feel like you're being watched? Like someone's behind you, even though no one's there? Yeah, that feeling. It doesn't go away. And to this day, I still don't know what that site was, or who Void Mirror was, or why they knew my name. But I do know one thing for sure. I'll never, ever go back to the deep web again. You remember Pictochat, right? That weird little feature on the old Nintendo DS. You could open it up, and if anyone nearby also had a DS, you'd see them pop into a chat room with you. No internet, no usernames, just a screen that said stuff like, "Now entering guest," or "Now entering player 2." It was simple, kinda pointless, but it felt like magic back then. Anyway, let me tell you something strange that happened to me and my cousin Jamie one summer evening. This was back in 2009, maybe 2010. We were about 13 at the time. I'll never forget it. And after you hear what happened, you won't forget it either. Jamie and I used to hang out in this little spot in our town called Lantern Hollow. It wasn't much, just a quiet patch of benches between a bakery and a thrift shop, some trees around, a broken water fountain, and an old lamppost that flickered like it was on its last breath. But it was the perfect hideaway for kids with nothing better to do. Most afternoons, we'd grab our bikes, head there with our DS consoles, and either play Pokemon or mess around on Pictochat. Nobody really used that feature seriously, but we thought it was hilarious to draw dumb pictures and write inside jokes to each other. Sometimes other kids would join the chat and mess around too. It was always fun until the night it wasn't. It was a Friday. I remember that clearly because we'd just gotten ice cream and planned to stay out a little later than usual. The sun was already slipping down, casting long shadows from the buildings. That lamppost I mentioned earlier, it was flickering even worse than normal, like it couldn't decide whether it wanted to be alive or dead. Jamie made a joke about it being haunted. We laughed. We plopped down on the wooden benches, pulled out our DS consoles, and started drawing goofy pictures in Pictochat. Jamie drew a stick figure with a giant head and called it me. I drew one with wild spiky hair and called it her. We were being dumb, just kids being kids. Then came that familiar sound. Ding, someone had joined the chat. We both looked at our screens. It said, "Now entering Eli." Jamie looked at me and grinned. "Who's Eli?" I shrugged. No clue. Maybe someone from the ice cream place. We looked around. No one was nearby, at least no one we could see. The street was pretty much empty, except for a parked van and a closed flower shop. The sun was nearly gone now, and the wind had picked up. The trees nearby rustled with a soft whisper. I wrote, "Hey Eli." Eli replied, "Hey." That's when Jamie typed, "Where are you?" There was a pause. Then the message came, "I see you." We both stared at that. Jamie laughed, but it was a little forced. "Okay, that's creepy." I scanned the street again. The lamplight barely lit the area. The shadows between the buildings looked darker than usual, deeper somehow. I felt a tiny shiver crawl down my back. Eli wrote again, "You two come here a lot." I typed back, "Yeah. Who are you? Are you close by?" A few seconds later, Eli sent a picture. It wasn't super clear, just a bunch of squiggly lines and rough shapes. It kind of looked like, I don't know, cotton, leaves, maybe a pillow. I typed, "Is that a cloud?" Eli replied, "No, try again." Jamie asked, "Why are we playing guessing games with a stranger?" I didn't answer. I was starting to feel really uneasy. I typed, "Okay, what is it then?" Eli wrote back, "It's where I'm hiding." That hit like ice in my chest. Jamie and I looked at each other, eyes wide now. This wasn't funny anymore. Jamie stood up and yelled, "All right, who's out there? This isn't funny." The wind picked up again, stronger this time. A tree branch creaked above us. That flickering lamppost went out for half a second, then sputtered back on. My hands were shaking as I looked back down at the screen. Another drawing appeared from Eli, similar to the first, but more detailed. This time I could make out individual shapes, leafy shapes, twigs, shadows. It looked like a bush, I typed. "Is that a bush?" As soon as I hit send, I heard it. A soft, dry chuckle. Not through the DS, not in the distance. Right behind me, Jamie froze. Her eyes locked on something past my shoulder, and her face went pale like she'd seen a ghost. I turned around, and there he was. A man slowly rose from the large bush directly behind our bench. He had been crouched there the whole time. I don't know how we didn't notice him. He was tall, lanky, wearing this loose, dirty hoodie. His face, God, I still see it when I close my eyes, was stretched into the widest grin I've ever seen. His teeth were tiny, like pebbles, but his gums were huge and pink and shiny in the light. His eyes didn't blink. He just stared. Then he reached forward and grabbed my shoulders, both. His fingers dug into me like claws. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. Jamie screamed my name. That snapped me out of it. I yanked free, and we both bolted to our bikes. My hands fumbled with the handlebars as I heard heavy, uneven footsteps behind us. Thud, thud, but we pushed off and started pedaling fast. So fast, my legs felt like they were going to fall off. I didn't dare look back until we hit the main road where there were streetlights and houses and people walking dogs. Only then did I glance over my shoulder. He wasn't there. No footsteps, no man, just an empty road behind us. We went straight home. My mom nearly fainted when she saw our faces. Jamie's dad was called, and both of us were told we were never allowed to go out after dark again. Not to Lantern Hollow, not anywhere without an adult. Even if they hadn't told me that, I swear to you, would have never gone back. Here's the part that really messes with my head. Whoever Eli was, he had to have had a DS. He had to have known when we were hanging out there, which means that probably wasn't the first time he watched us. He might have been hiding in that bush for days, weeks even, watching, waiting, listening. Just think about that. All those times we laughed and played and drew silly pictures. Someone might have been crouched just a few feet away in the dark, smiling, holding his own DS, and waiting for the perfect night to say, "I see you. I see you."